Good evening. My name is David Hirsch, and I'm the board chair of the THANC Foundation. Welcome to our first virtual gala. I've been a board member for almost 10 years and have been very impressed over that time with the incredible work that the team here does in training physicians, doing incredible research, and supporting families and patients themselves of thyroid head and neck cancer. Tonight we're going to try something a little bit different, a virtual gala. As you know, the global pandemic has put a great impact on the fundraising activities of our organization and all others. So tonight we're going to do something to try and make up for the lost fundraising for several events that should have happened earlier in the year. There's some great educational materials. You'll hear from a number of our board members, physicians, directors, patients, etc. So I hope you're inspired. I hope you can make a contribution and help us continue the terrific work that this organization does.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Camilo Gonzalez Velasquez. Over the past 2 years, I've been incredibly fortunate to become part of the THANC family. The THANC Foundation has changed both my life and my career in many ways. I started my journey with the THANC Foundation as an international observer, and for the past year and a half, I've had the honor of being the Gerald Gutierrez Memorial Scholar. During this time, I've had the opportunity to observe, learn, and work beside world-class physicians in a field of medicine that has become my passion. It is truly a pleasure to me to be here talking to you about my experience and the THANC Foundation's incredible value to both patients and healthcare professionals involved in the care of thyroid and head and neck cancers. See one, do one, teach one. This is a phrase that we as physicians often hear throughout our years as trainees. The curve that comes with learning any skill in healthcare is often more complex than this phrase. The acquisition of knowledge is a complex undertaking that we take for granted as children growing up. However, I believe that to truly understand the new concept, it is imperative that we gain a level of understanding that allows us to communicate it to colleagues and trainees in a way that they're able to comprehend it. The true mastery of a concept is best demonstrated by the ability to teach it to someone else. In my opinion, the THANC Foundation has kept this motto close to their heart and has transformed it into a critical portion of their mission. Through different initiatives which relay quality information to patients, THANC has shown an incomparable desire to guide patients and their caregivers in their journey and fill unmet needs that improve their quality of life. This past year, I've seen a personal dream start to crystallize and become a reality. In a brief conversation with Dr. Erkin, in which I shared my concerns about the inequity of thyroid cancer care worldwide, Tyra was born. My goal was to create something that would enhance the quality of care delivered by physicians of all levels of experience and in different specialties who treat thyroid cancer, and my ability to participate in the start of Tyro has been remarkable. The leadership that THANC has provided in assembling an international team of experts has brought me closer to realizing my dream that I could have ever imagined. I cannot imagine the full impact that THANC will have on educating physicians worldwide, and in turn, in raising the level of care delivered to patients who are afflicted with this disease. As Tyro unfolds, my dream will be realized by closing knowledge gaps through ongoing education, research, and international collaboration. The ultimate beneficiaries will be patients who will enjoy a heightened level of care. And this has only been possible because of the opportunity that I was given to join the THANC Foundation, which now I consider part of my family. Thank you.
Hi, I am Lisa Lusby, and I am nearing the 2-year mark post-treatment for my stage 2 tongue cancer diagnosis. It is especially important to me to thank the practitioners who helped me during this difficult part of my life, my team at Mount Sinai, Cindy, Dr. Okai, and of course, Dr. Erkin. I also thank my amazing friends and family. As a type A perfectionistic woman, I have had my life mapped out since I was little, and so far it was going according to plan. I completed graduate school, had my own private psychotherapy practice, got married in 2017, bought a house a year later, and would soon begin trying to start my own family. So finding out on August 7th, 2018, at the age of 28, that I had tongue cancer threw a huge wrench in my plan. Sometime in May of 2018, I noticed a white spot on the right side of my tongue. I figured it was a cold sore and would go away on its own. I feel fortunate that I talk a lot for a living because the sore was so irritating, I could not ignore it. Like many millennials, given that I was a healthy young woman, I did not have a general practitioner. So I made an appointment with the first available doctor I could find because after a few months of living with the sore, I needed to figure out what it was. I could tell something was off with my body. I remember feeling so beyond exhausted at the end of the day. I remember saying to my husband that I couldn't talk for the rest of the night because my mouth felt so strained from talking all day. I ended up getting a biopsy, and I am fortunate that the doctor who performed that was connected to the team at Mount Sinai. So he was able to set up an appointment to get me in with Dr. Erkin the day after I was told I had cancer. For anyone, hearing that you have cancer is a shock to your system, especially for a young, healthy, strong woman. I had never even heard of tongue cancer. I remember my thoughts racing to, will I die from this? Do I have to freeze my eggs? Will I get to live the life that I imagined? How do you even get tongue cancer? I learned that common risk factors include alcohol use, tobacco use, and HPV. I was never a big drinker. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life, and this was not HPV. I do not in any way fit the criteria for tongue cancer. I was confused, angry, and devastated. I could not control this, and I couldn't have done anything to prevent this. You can imagine that being a control freak, this was not easy to handle. I am so thankful that my team at Mount Sinai moved so quickly. In the span of 3 weeks, my life had completely changed, and I would be on the way to recovery. When I think back to the day I arrived at Mount Sinai to get the surgery, my body gets incredibly tense because of the fear that I felt. I had never had surgery before, let alone surgery that would determine the stage of my cancer and what felt like my fate. I remember a lovely nurse walking me back to the operating room. It was so cold, and they told me to hop on the metal table, so I did. And then Dr. Erkin was there looking over me, and I was calm again. I knew I was going to be okay when I was in the room with him. I would say that being a planner helped me get through this. After the surgery, I saw a speech pathologist a few times. I went back to work full time, and I participated in social events, and then I began radiation 6 weeks later. I had moments of desperately wanting to feel normal, like booking a trip to Paris when I was clearly not well enough to go, planning with Dr. Erkin when I would be allowed to start trying to get pregnant, a conversation I doubt he has often with his other patients, amongst other endless amounts of negotiations with him. It has been almost 2 years since finishing treatment, and I have been able to live my life the way that I had before cancer, for the most part. I am still monitored closely and get follow-up scans. There are days that I fear it returning and find myself staring at my tongue, running to my husband, asking if this looks normal. The biggest challenge has been knowing that I cannot control cancer. I try to stay present in my life and live it fully. I am so fortunate to have a little baby boy who is now almost 5 months old to help ground me in these times of anxiety. Thank you all for supporting this amazing foundation and listening to my story.
For a newly diagnosed cancer patient, the internet can be a scary and unreliable source of information. The THANC Guide was created to be trusted and reliable, an online resource for anyone with head and neck or thyroid cancer seeking support. Led by top researchers and experts in the field, the THANC Guide provides a touchstone for patients, their caregivers, and loved ones. Our goal is to provide knowledge, hope, and support through all stages of the cancer journey. The THANC Guide is a platform that describes the basics of cancer in plain language, everything from the type and stage of disease, as well as the treatments available. We educate our visitors with in-depth articles, illustrations, and video content. The regular updates we make to the site help us keep in touch with our audience, writing on popular topics that affect them. Our blog, The Journey, addresses the unique hurdles that each family member must face on the path back to wellness. We tailor specific content to help patients communicate with their children about cancer. Since its launch in 2013, the THANC Guide has been a trusted online resource for over 2 million people struggling with a cancer diagnosis, and we are here to provide the knowledge, hope, and support that is so desperately needed.
Good evening. If you are joining us now, my name is Dr. Mark Erkin, and I would like to personally welcome you to this virtual gala of the THANC Foundation. When you enter a career in oncology, it seems obvious that you must be prepared to face the loss of your patients. However, there are no medical school courses that prepare you for that loss, and residency and fellowship training are largely sheltered experiences which do not focus on long-term patient management or patient and family relationships. Unfortunately, the management of circumstances surrounding the loss of a patient is a skill that you must learn on the job. No matter how many times that I have been forced to deal with this life-altering event, it has never gotten easier. The skills required to help patients and their loved ones to prepare for and then to deal with this loss represent an enormous challenge. As a treating clinician, it is essential that you remain engaged and provide support despite personal feelings of loss and self-doubt. Tony Loftman first became my patient in 2004 when, at the age of 33, he was diagnosed with oral cancer and underwent the first of many surgeries followed by radiation therapy. 2 years later, in 2006, he underwent another major surgery and a microvascular reconstruction. Over the next 14 years, Tony underwent multiple surgeries and major reconstructions for both recurrent disease as well as treatment-related complications. In all, he endured 3 courses of radiation therapy to the head and neck. Through the end of 2019 and all of 2020, Tony was treated with immunotherapy until his tragic demise in September of 2020. He suffered devastating complications from immunotherapy, but pressed onward and never gave in to his disease. In the 16 years that I knew and cared for Tony, his wife Judy was always by his side. In spite of having every conceivable reason to complain about what he was forced to endure, never once did he give up hope and his desire to live. Many times, I found myself wondering whether I should be the one to tell him that there was no more hope of beating this horrible illness. However, that would have been an insult to his intelligence, because I knew that he knew that the odds were stacked against him. Tony worked several different jobs, but his real passion was as an artist. At one point, during a hiatus from his disease, he worked on a painting of me that he modeled after a photo that Judy took of me prior to going off to one of his surgeries. That portrait has extremely special meaning for me. There are many memories that I have of the countless encounters with Tony and Judy. As stoic as Tony was, Judy was always extremely transparent. The look on her face and her body language revealed her level of concern the minute that I walked into his exam room. The last time that I operated upon Tony, I had an experience that I have never had before with a patient. I dare say it caught me off guard. As Tony was going off to sleep, he pulled the oxygen mask away from his face and whispered to me that he loved me. It was one of the most difficult moments that I can remember having as a surgeon. It took all of my concentration to put on a shield of objectivity in order to move ahead with surgery. Tony was a remarkable individual. Every member of our care team, from doctors and nurses to support staff, adored him. Despite what he was going through, Tony displayed his selflessness by looking after a family friend that he helped when he, like Tony, was diagnosed with oral cancer. When asked to contribute a video to the THANC Head and Neck Cancer Guide, Tony and Judy recorded heartfelt advice to other head and neck cancer patients so that others from around the world could benefit from their experiences as both patient and caregiver. Tony's 16-year journey reveals so much about the head and neck cancer patient experience. While not every patient is forced to endure what Tony and Judy experienced, there are far too many individuals who do. Unfortunately, many patients who overcome their cancer often face the challenges of the damaging effects of the treatment itself, which can alter their lives many years later. This disease has the ability to transform itself over time and become resistant to current therapies. It is up to us, as the community of healthcare professionals, to continue to innovate in order to try to stay ahead of this relentless adversary. Tony's story is one of incredible personal fortitude and the triumph of his personal spirit. And it is also a story about the power of support afforded by a loving partner, as well as a community of family and friends. The loss of a patient is never something that I will get used to. The loss of a 16-year friendship is even more devastating. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all so much for your outpouring of support. 19 years ago, a group of grateful patients scheduled a meeting with me to discuss the development of a support group that eventually evolved into the THANC Foundation. At the time, I really had no idea what this opportunity would allow me and the foundation to accomplish. With the benefit of hindsight, it has been an amazing journey. Having spent my entire career as an academic surgeon, I am keenly aware of the constraints imposed by academic medical centers, where the financial realities limit the type of initiatives that can be undertaken. Obtaining outside funding is challenging and often difficult to achieve, especially for surgeons who spend a great deal of time in the operating room rather than writing and rewriting grant proposals. As a result of that meeting 19 years ago, THANC's independence has allowed our organization to move with far greater freedom and speed to perform clinical research and to meet the needs of people diagnosed with cancer, as well as the physicians who treat them. Building communities of clinicians and patients has been a consistent theme for THANC. Starting in the second week of March 2020, as a result of the pandemic, all in-person, institutional, regional, national, and international meetings were canceled. At that time, we launched a weekly virtual thyroid journal club. This endeavor filled a void and allowed us to bring clinicians together from around the world in a meaningful way. This promoted the exchange of ideas between an international set of speakers and participants, educating them with the results of the latest research. We have received strong support for this initiative from physicians located in Japan, Australia, Europe, South America, and all parts of North America. Training and education has long been a tradition of the THANC Foundation. For 27 years, we have sponsored a head and neck surgical fellowship, and for 20 years, we ran a week-long international course that attracted over 100 surgeons from all over the world to learn the latest surgical techniques. This allowed them to bring these techniques back to their native countries and to benefit an entire group of patients in remote locations who were diagnosed with head and neck and thyroid cancers. Our commitment to physician education and clinical research results in an improved quality of life for this patient population, who are the focus of everything that we do at THANC. Patient support is truly at the heart of everything we do and how we view ourselves as an advocacy organization. An example of this is THANC's sponsorship of the documentary Can You Hear My Voice, which follows the stories of several members from the British Shout at Cancer Choir, made up of singing patients who had their voice boxes surgically removed. The Shout at Cancer Choir is a source of hope and inspiration for all head and neck cancer patients, as well as any individual who must rise up from adversity to overcome whatever challenges come their way. You will learn more about this remarkable group and the film during the latter part of this program. Having spent my career working with patients whose illnesses led to disabilities related to speaking, eating, and at times breathing, one of the major problems is the resulting isolation that ensues. The pandemic has tested all aspects of society, but the hurdles faced by cancer patients have been extraordinary. And the loneliness of the journey has been magnified by the constraints of social distancing. Undergoing major surgery without the support of family has certainly contributed to this hardship. To ease that pain we have built an online community of patients through the THANC Guide. As you saw from the trailer, this resource provides knowledge, hope, and support to 50,000 patients and family members globally each month. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to everyone gathered here tonight. Your generous support has allowed us to have a profound impact on the lives of head, neck, and thyroid cancer patients. Thank you, and good night.
Nine years ago, I started as a clinical research associate at the THANC Foundation. It changed my life. I remember my first day at the foundation. I got badge access and computer training. By day 5, I was working on 2 clinical research studies and getting ready to spend my first day in the operating room with Dr. Erkin and Bookbinder. I'm Jason Klain. I'm a 4th-year plastic and reconstructive surgery resident at the Combined Harvard program in Boston, Massachusetts. I wanted to spend a little bit of time explaining how THANC shaped me into the surgeon in training that I am today. For 2 years, I spent every Monday in the operating room with the incredible head and neck team. I saw microvascular free tissue transfer, or as I understood it at the time, how a bone from the leg could be used to reconstruct the jaw for patients with cancer. I heard daily the importance of putting our patients first and how meticulous surgical technique could result in the best postoperative outcomes for our patients. It gave profound meaning to the research that I worked on and set the stage for my future in surgery. On the research side, I learned evidence-based medicine. Dr. Kathy Lazarus would take us to the fluoroscopy suite, and we would see firsthand how these complex reconstructive procedures, along with excellent therapy, could restore patients' ability to eat and drink. We examined the role of surgical decision-making on patients with thyroid cancer and how one's level of training affected the ability to make those decisions. And on the side, I got to travel with Erica and my fellow research associates multiple times to help develop the THANC Guide, a multidisciplinary resource for head and neck cancer patients and their families. I felt so privileged to be part of an incredible team. Ultimately, I was able to publish over 15 peer-reviewed articles and present at national and international meetings. I left THANC for medical school in 2013. I remained fascinated with the role of the reconstructive surgeon to restore what was often harshly taken away from our patients. Ultimately, I decided to apply to a residency in plastic and reconstructive surgery. Plastic surgery, like otolaryngology, is one of the most competitive fields in medicine, and I can say without a doubt, had it not been for my time at THANC, that I would not have matched into the residency of my dreams. THANC will forever be the rock-solid foundation for which the rest of my clinical and academic career rests, and I cannot thank you enough for your support of this incredible organization.
All right, I'm back. I am back. Right, here we go. Whilst you have been watching the rest of the show, I've been in the back end of the system, which is another fun aspect of virtual events. And I can see the numbers, I can see the stats. And so far, 69% of you that have tuned in have made a donation, which is fantastic. Thank you very much. But it does mean that 31% of you are dragging your feet somewhat. Now, all will be forgiven because you haven't missed your opportunity to give. You can give throughout the rest of the show, but please do keep donating. We are doing incredibly well. I'm very, very grateful that you all tuned in and that you actually listened to me during the appeal and we got some money raised, but 31% of you still to give, so get donating, please get donating. And now the next part of this evening's program is a trailer to the documentary Can You Hear My Voice, which is produced by Bill Brummel along with Atos Medical. The production of this incredible film was sponsored by THANC Foundation. So let's take a look.
I started getting a hoarse voice, and as the months progressed, it got worse and worse. The drains are out, so that would be 5-7 days after my operation.
I thought he was really gonna die.
I lost all my confidence and didn't want to speak.
It just changed her personality.
I didn't want anybody else to really see me or hear me. Once I'd been diagnosed with cancer, I went into a survival mode.
Usual protocol, Andrew. I'm going to clip on the count of 3, I'm going to pull it out. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
I can show you my hurts. I can show you my pain. In every scar of my own shame.
I remember quite well when I first suggested let's form a choir. They responded with laughter and surprise and disbelief.
It just seemed ridiculous how you would expect a group of people with no voice boxes to stand up and sing in a choir.
Most of them never sang before. Most of them never were on stage before. And they're going to put on a show, and they're going to add this other 2 or 3 layers of emotional vulnerability.
All right, everyone, just relax. We are prepared, right?
We're doing a concert. The adrenaline rush is incredible. I never thought I would do something like this.
Konakol is a traditional Indian musical language. For centuries it has been used to teach music and pass on rhythms. It is often linked to the tabla, a small drum played with the fingertips mainly. But Konakol is applicable to all percussion instruments and has influenced many musical genres. And now it has found its way to impact speech recovery after losing the voice box. We use the playful, repetitive combination of different vowels and consonants to help them master their new voice. It's a fun way to fine-tune breathing and hand coordination to voicing. They choose how fast and how difficult combinations are, and it can be done anywhere, alone or in group. And here's an example to what this can evolve to.
Let's try of running the whole thing.
Great. So you have your headphones? You hear me in your headphones? Yeah, good.
Yes.
Okay, we'll start with...
How is that?